16, 17, and
okay.
And we had especially Courteline and Feydeau.
Okay.
So all our modern funny film are based, in fact, on Feydeau. Like L'Hôtel du Libre-Échange, you know, one door closed, another one will open. And this intersection. And also the couples, there is always one who is the stupid one.
Okay.
Like Le Dîner de Con, you know, from Francis Weber, which is absolutely superb. But if you take all the duo that Lautner, Georges Lautner and Gérard Houry has built with Fernandel, with Bourvil, with De Funès, it was just extraordinary. And in fact, the COVID period, we've been watching all these old films, and suddenly we are thinking, what are we doing now? Because we lost wonderful writers, because before anything, you need a good script.
Yes,
and
of course, very important.
But beautifully written. And to come back to our main tradition, you know, the one we really started was Marcel Carné and Jean Renoir.
Yes.
And these two have also had comic films. You know, the producer and the actor, they were doing everything. So nowadays, unfortunately, you have producers who are stopping the talents of the director because everything, you know, is for Netflix or channel, this and that. So the orientation now is too much money. And we are losing sometimes the art, because art is freedom.
Yes, art is freedom. L'art, c'est la liberté. I agree. Yes. Marianne, France has always supported cinema, because you told that CNC is a very strong organization. But nowadays, in the age of internet, everything is controlled by big corporations such as Netflix. So in France, I believe France is the only country in the world which is opposing Netflix, because some years ago, even the films made by Netflix, you know, there was a decision that such films will not be shown in Cannes Film Festival. So
yes.
My question to you is that, how is Netflix helping the young viewers in France, young cinephile in France, to appreciate and enjoy the richness of French cinema?
Well, I must say, our President Macron has promised to help the city, and is making life difficult to Netflix, because he's saying that Netflix has to show all the old masters and to have a kind of cinephile way.
Cinephilie.
So okay, they will give, you know, some, you know,
some program for
programs, but on the other side, they have to show a certain amount of classics.
Okay. So this way, so this way Netflix will balance classic with recent films. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's important.
Okay. Marianne, just now you said that you are a bridge between India and France. And thank you very much. Yes, a small bridge. You are a small bridge between India and France, and I'm really happy that I've met you. I've seen you in Jodhpur International Film Festival, Rajasthan International Film Festival in Jodhpur. How passionate you were meeting Indian people, and you know, you were very wonderful. So my question is related to the passion of French people for India, especially Indian cinema. So there are directors like Alain Corneau, Jean Renoir, and Louis Malle, some of the legendary figures of French cinema who loved India. Alain Corneau made Nocturne Indien, Jean Renoir made Le Fleuve, and Louis Malle shot some documentary Land Fantôme in India. So my question to you is that, according to you, to your knowledge, what attracted these directors to India, and what kind of fascination does India have for French filmmakers? Why does India attract some French filmmakers?
Because you have something that we've lost.
Okay.
You are connected still to the gods.
Okay.
You are connected to all these wonderful stories. And you are always very positive in your fight. French have become very sinister. And they are good for the critic. But the critic is always sometimes, bad critics. While in India, you'll never have a bad critic. They will always say, acha, acha, yes and no. But obviously we have an immense admiration for your culture. Unfortunately, we don't make enough co-production.
Yes.
But I think things are going to change because now we have lots of young directors who've been becoming very international. Because of course there was still something which was a little bit missing in India, not for your market, but for the international market. It was that you produce a lot of films because you have a very, very big market, but sometimes you show them too quickly, and the editing is always a little bit too long for international market. But now the young generation is working with an international mind, and your stories are fantastic. But it's sad to think that, in the last few years, if you speak to French audience, they will only remember, Lunchbox and Irfan Khan, but otherwise there are very few films. They will say, it's that's very sad. We don't see enough Indian films because they for them. And I've been trying quite often to propose films, but it doesn't work, and I'm very sad of that.
Okay. Let's talk about some producers of French cinema, some big names. Daniel Toscan du Plantier, Marek Amitz. So what is the contribution, according to you, of these French film producers to make French cinema shine on the international level? What do people like Daniel Toscan du Plantier and...
Toscan du Plantier has been extraordinary and essential to the French cinema because he understood better than anybody else that with mixing, stories from abroad with French cinema, then it will go all over the planet. So he was very, 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 very clever, and we miss him a lot.
Okay. What about Marek Amitz, MK2?
MK2, he was an emperor. All his films has been, big success everywhere. And he was just amazing.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Marianne, this brings me to my two more questions. In France, we see that people read a lot.
Yes.
You people read a lot, and in films also I've seen that they show you big bibliothèque. You have huge libraries, and even if they show a student, but then he'll be surrounded by so many books and all that. So French cinema and literature, I believe there's a bond between both of them. So my question to you is that how do writers and filmmakers contribute to create brilliant films? Because you have writers, Michel Houellebecq, and many writers, Diderot, and many literary adaptations have been made. So, according to you, how do writers and filmmakers work together to make good films in France?
Well, in fact, I think the best films are the ones written by the director themselves. Take an example of Audiard.
Jacques Audiard.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, he was the son of Michel Audiard.
The famous dialogue writer, yes.
Michel Audiard was well known for all his comedy. And Jacques Audiard has inherited the talent of his father, but he went even further than his father because he started to make very important films, but knowing how important it is to write a story and to deep into the roots of the story. And I say for that, like the English cinema, I will say we are the best in the world because we have also Jean Descartes, our big philosopher, and we have a pensée cartésienne. So we have a balance between the imagination and the reality. What is strong in our cinema, it's staying very real, but deep roots of intellectual background.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yes, I agree with you. There's a balance between Cartesian thought and the reality. Yes, I agree with you. Marianne, this brings me to my last question. There are great filmmakers in France, very, very, very formal. Robert Bresson and Georges Franju. Bresson is Bresson. I've attended Bresson retrospective, and in 1998, I got a chance to meet Madame Florence Dallet, who acted in Bresson. Yes. I met her in Chennai, Madras. Okay. Because she was in Bresson film about Jeanne d'Arc, Le Procès Jeanne d'Arc, very nice lady. And I believe she's also a member of the l'Académie Française. She was a member of l'Académie Française. So Bresson is very much known in India. Many people who are interested in cinema know Bresson. And there's another director, very famous, Georges Franju. Yes, but not many people know about him. I know about his films because I've watched his films on TV5 and on DVDs and all that. So my question to you is that what about young French cinephiles, youngsters in France? Do they know Bresson and Georges Franju?
Yes, of course, because we have film schools in France. Important film. You have La Fénie, you have l'ESRA, and they are taught. Before the internet cinema, they are told about our cinema, the history of our cinema, because let's face it, we invent. Oh, it's very hot in your country. You are lucky.
Il fait chaud, il fait. T'as raison.
We invented the cinema with, the Frères Lumière and Méliès. Had Dadavel Falquet, but we had before Lumière and Méliès. So of course, it's a tradition in France to be proud of our cinema. If you want to become a director, you have of course to learn about Bresson and Franju. Of course, Bresson was the first one who wanted to make anonymous films. When I said anonymous, he was taking people who were not actors. And he was making beautiful things. I'm not saying I don't like his cinema. You're missing. I don't like being an actress.
Okay.
I don't like because he was never using proper actors. He was taking people in the street.
Okay.
And he would see you and say, what are you doing next week? And then he would have taken.
Marianne, you are talking about whom? Whom are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bresson.
Oh, Robert Bresson. Okay, Bresson. Okay, yeah. Non-professionals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was just, filming the total reality, but with people from the streets.
Yes, you're right.
And that I don't like too much.
Okay.
I mean, the results were beautiful, but
yeah.
Carnet, Renoir, using all these wonderful actors.
Yes. There's a small anecdote I want to share with you. In 2005, I was in Paris, and I had gone to Créteil. Créteil is a festival, the film, The Farm.
Yes.
Okay. So I went there and I saw this. So there's a Jackie Bouet. We became good friends. Okay, she's the head of this festival, and we became good friends and all that. So there was a party, and I went for the party, and I met Madame Bresson, the wife of Robert Bresson. Very nice lady, and so I also told her the same thing, that that time Mr. Bresson was alive, but he was not present in the party. So I told her the same thing, that Monsieur Bresson makes wonderful films, but this choice of actors is really, Then she said,
yes.
Yeah. So that's a funny thing, because it's good to make good films, but there should be something for actors also. And but I believe very rarely he had taken some actors, very rarely.
But it's a question I would like you to ask to a young director I just worked with. His name is Luca Di Nuzzo.
Okay.
And I did a film with him last year.
Okay.
With an actor called Rufus.
Okay.
And he worked at the ESRA, big school, and he's a total cinephile. He can answer any questions, and he would have been perfect to answer that. I don't really know about the young, but I know they study a lot.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So fantastic. Merci, Marianne, thank you for all the good answers. So I completed yours. Now, what about you? Do you have a list of questions for me?
Well, now I have to ask you a few questions about you.
Please.
Because you are absolutely amazing. First, I have to tell your audience that I'm astonished by the way you speak French.
Merci. Thank you, Marianne.
Let me ask you, when and how did you discover French cinema? Did you learn French because you discovered French cinema, or is it you discovered the French cinema because you were speaking French? So tell me.
No. I discovered French cinema in 1984, but I started to learn French in 1992 because I was born in Jodhpur, and in Jodhpur there's no Alliance Française, there's no French Culture Center. So I discovered French cinema by watching French films on TV. So I started with Costa Gavras films. Costa Gavras, the Greek director. Yes. So the first French film which I saw was a Costa Gavras film with Johnny Hallyday, and it's called Family Business. Affaire de Famille. Johnny Hallyday and all these people, I believe there's a Johnny Hallyday, there was Nathalie Baye, and these people are thieves, they're cambrioler. These guys are burglars. And that was a funny film, I liked it, it was, so I started with Costa Gavras, then there was Truffaut. I saw Jules and Jim, 400 coups, and all these great Truffaut films, wonderful films,
À chaque doigt qui fascinait. Jeanne Moreau was so wonderful.
Jeanne Moreau, Henri Serre, and that was fantastic.
I worked with Henri Serre.
Okay.
He was also fantastic. But to come back to Jeanne Moreau, just to say a little thing, my father was a producer. His name was Pierre Chateau. And Jeanne Moreau started a career as an actress in the theater, Comédie Française, and then a bit of movie. And then suddenly, at the age of 32, she didn't work at all for 7 years.
Okay.
And my father was the first one to give her a chance again in a film called L'étrange Monsieur Steve. And in that, it was the first film of Lino Ventura.
Oh, Lino Ventura, he's my favorite actor. Yes.
So
I like Lino Ventura.
First part ever in L'étrange Monsieur Steve.
Okay.
Voilà, sorry.
No.
So,
okay. Then in 1992, I moved to Bangalore and I immediately joined Alliance Française. And from there, I saw a lot of French films, many French films, I saw films from, by all the great directors, I saw films by René Clément, all the classics, René Clément.
I know your knowledge about French cinema is amazing. So now I ask you, what do you like the most about French cinema?
Yes. I think the best thing about French cinema, which I like, is that France is the only country where you make films like Les Bronzés, you have Le Bronzé series, and you have author cinema also. You have Truffaut, Godard, Romer. In India, we don't have like that, because in India, what happened is that you had films by Satyajit Ray, Minal Sen, all these great authors, but they were not appreciated by the public. Now, I'll give you an example. In France, there's a FICA, Festival du Cinéma Asiatique in Vesoul. It's a very famous festival, and I know the organizers, Jean-Marc Therouan and Martin Therouan. They are young, nice people. So I went to Vesoul in 2006 to attend this festival. And after a screening, we were coming out, and in the same cinema, they were showing Comping. There's a French series called Comping 1, 2, and all that. And when I saw Comping, I was like, I told Jean-Marc and Martin, what is this? But they said, no, even this kind of cinema should exist. So the best thing about French cinema is that you have coexistence. You have cinema d'auteur and you have cinema commercial, which you don't find in India, because in India you have only huge cinema commercial, but cinema d'auteur now it's not there.
Well, you once again.
Yes.
Because you don't have a help of the state.
Yes.
It's, the CNC is helping all those young directors to do cinema. They know it's not going to bring back money, but it will bring back art.
Yes, that's true. I agree with you 100%. Yes. Okay.
So, what needs to be done to increase the presence of French cinema in India?
First of all, we should have more Marianne Borgo, more people like Marianne Borgo. So I believe we should have more French people. For example, you mentioned Jeanne Moreau. Jeanne Moreau came to IFFI. Gérard Depardieu produced some of the films of Satyajit Ray. Then you had Claire Denis, who had come to IFFI Goa. You had Luc Besson. He was invited to IFFI Goa.
I'm invited Catherine Deneuve.
Yes.
The next year.
Marion Cotillard?
No. The third year it was Bertrand Tavernier.
Okay.
Then Luc Besson. And 2 years ago Isabelle Huppert. But the other one, it was, I'll remember tomorrow, but very important director. And they were also happy, to discover your festival and your cinema. So it's true that we have to make a bigger effort. But sorry to interrupt, and just to mention something that I did a few years ago. I've twinned 2 festivals, one in Nasik and one in Vitel. And it was very important because there were small festivals, and I told to the directors and the actors, look, we can't pay for your travel to France, but when you go to France, you will be treated as a French actor or as a French director. So I had 5 people who came from India, and then we took them to Vitel, and they had a fabulous time. And what was fantastic, your ambassador at the time was Arun Kasing, and the cultural attaché Apurva Srivastava came from Paris to Vitel. And, you know, for the first time, the Indian flag was floating on Vitel. And for 3 days, we show Indian films, and all the French people were absolutely amazed. So we have to do more of this kind of exchange.
Yes. We should have more French directors, French actors, actresses, and more French films in Indian film festivals. If we go Kerala, International Film Festival of Kerala, International Film Festival of Kolkata, more French films, then definitely the chance of having French cinema appreciated in India will be more.
Well, I've got a very good hope because we have a new lady called Juliette Grandmont, who's been appointed in Dubai, and she was a producer, and she was the assistant of Joël Parges, and I've got a great her because really she knows the business very well, and maybe soon, after COVID we are going to make all these exchanges. I have another for you. Which French actors and actresses do you like, and why?
Okay. I like French, among the actresses, let me begin with the actresses. I like, my favorite actress is Simone Signore, because she's an intelligent person. Of course, Marianne Borgo, but I've not seen a lot of Marianne Borgo.
Casque d'Or, she was splendid.
So Simone Signore, Casque d'Or, and the Clouseau film, you know, she was good, you know, in the Clouseau film, you know, the one with the Vera Clouseau, you know?
Yes.
Okay. She was the wife and the mistress, that one. Okay. So Simone Signore, and later on when she married Yves Montand, and she still remained a very good actress, a very intelligent person.
They were a magic couple and an important couple.
Yes.
They were also very political, and they opened the gates to new ideas.
Yes.
But they were really very, very passionate actors, and both beautiful. We'll miss them a lot.
Yes. So Simone Signore is a very intelligent actress, so whom I appreciate the most. Other than that, other than Simone Signore, I would say Catherine Deneuve and Isabelle Huppert. Both of them are also very intelligent actresses. Among actors, there are 3 whom I like very much because of their acting. Jean Gabin is fantastic. Monsieur Gabin has such a huge presence. You know, he's there as if like some god is there, and you know, he's so passionate, and the way he speaks and all that, fantastic. Alain Delon, of course, I'm a big fan. Alain Delon also is a commercial plus good films he has done. Gerard Depardieu, and one actor whom I like, Lino Ventura, of course, a huge fan. But the one whom I like the most nowadays is Fabrice Lucchini. He's a very intelligent actor. He knows so much of literature, and when he talks on talk shows, it's just like, it's fantastic listening to him, because you know he has.
You are touching a very sensible point, because we were at the Conservatoire National d'Art Dramatique.
Yes.
And Lucchini, we had the same master, our teacher, who was Jean-Laurent. And you know, the way he's saying all the fables de La Fontaine, and la diction des mots, it is jouissif, as we say in France. He's totally exceptional. But we have many like him, like Daniel Auteuil, you know, we have really wonderful actors. Because once again, the directors write them good parts and direct them well.
True, yes. Of course.
It's fantastic.
Yes, like Bakri also, unfortunately. Yes, please.
Because I just wanted to say something. I can't say his name right now because I've just been doing a film with a young director. I worked with him a few years ago, and we've been shooting it in Goa. But once again, we did it without the authorization. At the moment, you know, time he's doing in Mumbai, he's editing, and all he's been producing himself. He's doing it that way. And I'm very sad to see that those directors don't have a chance. If it was in France, you know, they will have producer helping them because he's so talented. So I know his film is going to be very good. But for the moment, I can't say a word about it. But I wish they had the help that we have in France.
Okay.
So another question for you. Very personal.
Please.
What did you learn by watching so many French films? Has it transformed you?
Of course. See, I tell you, you know, when I started to watch French films, it was on TV. Later on, TV5 became my favorite, you know. For example, now I only watch TV5. So not only French films, but Question pour un Champion, Des Chiffres, Des Lettres, and many of these shows which you can see only in France. But now, in the comfort of my home in India, so TV5 Monde, they show 2 French films in a week, every Tuesday and every Tuesday and every Thursday. So I get to see 8 French films in a month. That is 100.
Lovely. Which last one you saw?
Last French film which I saw was Chocolat by Claire Denis. Chocolat.
Ah,
okay, so it's a good film.
With Juliette Binoche. Wonderful.
Yes. So there are many French films you can't see in IFI or anything, but thanks to TV5, you know, I get to see French films, and which is very good. So what I learned more, of course, it's not only language, it's learning about the language, it's learning about the culture, civilization, and I also teach French in international schools. So it helps me, you know, to watch French films. For example, by watching French films, you know, like there was a film called Être and Avoir by Nicolas Philibert.
Yeah.
I know, yes. It's a wonderful film. It's a documentary film about a small school teacher in a small school. And when I show it to my students, they were very happy. And for them, you know, it was a big wonder. And for example, I saw this wonderful animation film by Paul Grimaud, Le Roi et l'Oiseau.
Yes, lovely.
It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. But not many people know about it. So I believe watching French films on TV, then in film festivals, then again on TV, and then reading about them, Cahiers du Cinema, Positive, Premiere, you know, so many things. So it has always helped, you know, to have good knowledge about French cinema. What exactly is happening?
But I suppose you learned this knowledge when you were in Paris for a year to study cinema. So tell me a little bit more about your experience.
Yes. So when I was in Paris, I was living in 9e arrondissement in Pigalle, and but I would regularly go to Femis, which is in 18th arrondissement, and they would have wonderful programs. You know, they would be screening, they would be meet the directors and all that, and you know, when you go and you meet some people, then there's always a contact. So in Paris, my stay in Paris was useful because I would go to Femis, and I was studying in Paris 3 Sorbonne Nouvelle, which is in Sancier, Metro Sancier, and even in our university, and I was taught by people who are big names in Laurent Creton. He writes about economic cinema. There was François Thomas. There's a Michel Marie. All these people, you know, they are experts of French cinema. So it was wonderful. And then I would go to Cinema des Cinéastes in the 7e arrondissement, a very famous cinema. Yes. And once while I was walking on the street, I met Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who was also going, and I spoke to him passionately, and it was wonderful experience. So you know,
it's so wonderful to see how much you're excited. It's wonderful.
Yes,
so
yes.
which French directors do you like the most? What can you say about them?
Yes, well, my favorite, I believe there are a couple of French film directors who are my favorites. I would say I like very much films by Maurice Pialat. Maurice Pialat is a wonderful director because he's something enfant terrible. You can say he's a l'enfant terrible, l'enfant
Yes.
terrible du cinéma français. I like his films. There was another guy called, he died unfortunately. His name is Jean-Claude Brissot. I like his films very much. Brissot, yes, Brissot is a great director. Then of course all the old masters, Louis Malle, Tavernier, Romer, Godard, Truffaut, Patrice Leconte, Patrice Chéreau, these guys. So it's wonderful.
Alors, I'm happy because you are going to discover some new French directors.
Okay.
And my favorite at the moment, and it's why I'm full of hope about our new cinema in France.
Okay.
It's because we are back to writing. Take an example, Florent Zeller. He just won 2 Oscars with The Father.
Yes. Okay.
First, he's written the play for theater. And I saw it with Robert Hirsch, who was from the Comédie Française, unfortunately he died. And then to make the film international, it took Anthony Hopkins. But it's a play. And he has written and directed. Oh no, I don't like your hat, please.
Okay.
It's horrible.
J'ai moins de cheveux. So yes.
So yes, much better. Don't wear your cap, it's horrible.
Okay.
So Florent Zeller is a very important one. Then we have Alexis Michalik, who has written the plays and now he's directed a film called Edmond, which is about Edmond Rostand. Cyrano de Bergerac and all that. And we have the son of Guy Bedos, who is absolutely, Bedos is a must for young Indian
Nicolas
writers.
Bedos. You're talking about Nicolas Bedos.
Yes. They should study his last film, which is absolutely a superb script. So sorry to have interrupted you, but that's the young generation to follow and really to study for young Indian filmmakers. I think it's very important.
Okay.
Alors, now, an important question.
Please.
As a film critic, how closely do you follow your film critic friends from France nowadays?
Yes, they are a big help. They are a big help, film critic friend from France. So definitely, yes, I am in touch with some of them. Not many, but I am in touch with critic friends from Cahiers du Cinéma, Positive. There are people who write for Les Echos, Le Monde, La Libération. Yes. So yes, I'm in touch with them. But again, when I talk to these people, it's mostly a collaboration that, they want to know more about Indian cinema. So I send them information about Indian films, photos and information, or maybe sometimes articles. I translate them in French and then send to them. And then when I have some questions about French cinema or some French, films, which I'm not able to get on internet or something, then they help me. So we collaborate, but mostly it's about Indian cinema and French cinema.
Now it's an ambiguous question because
please.
Of course you speak French like a French person.
Merci.
So how the knowledge of France has helped you to understand French humor? And do you think that normal Indian viewers will enjoy as much as you do?
Yes, you're right, Marianne. This is an interesting question. When I started to watch French cinema in the beginning, so you would have subtitles, but subtitles cannot communicate the proper meaning.
No, never translate.
Yes. Subtitles is just an approximation that approximately this can be this, but when you know the language, for example, a film like La Haine of Mathieu Kassovitz, it has so many slang words. How will you translate that? So knowing French helps you in appreciating French cinema better, because there are so many expressions in French cinema, in French language, which you can't translate. So I believe that there's a difference, that, if you know the language, it helps you. For example, you also know a little bit of Hindi, you know about Indian culture. And I believe it also helps you in understanding the mentality of Indian people. So I believe this knowing French language and appreciating cinema has helped me to appreciate French cinema better. Other than somebody who is just, yes.
Yeah, and then of course, you attend a lot of film festivals.
Yes.
So in those film festivals, you see films that normal people will never see in India, because you still have a very strong censure, which is going to,
I can understand.
Unfortunately, won't let the film released. I mean, the release of the films.
No, there's a funny incident. For example, in almost all the Alliance Française, there would be a cine club. Okay.
Yes.
And but many people will there are many idiotic people who just feel that French cinema is all about nudity and sex and all that. And I can give you an example of one particular film. There was a film called Betty Blue by Jean-Jacques Benex with Beatrice Dalle. Okay. So this film was very popular. This film, and even some films by Andrzej Żuławski,
Yeah.
His films have a lot of nudity and all that. And many people would come and they would sing, "Oh wow, this is," but no, this is not cinema, because or for example, there was a Rivet film. There was a Rivet film called La Belle Noiseuse. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes. So when this film was shown in IFFI, International Film Festival of India, 1991 in Bangalore, there was huge crowd. There were so many people I think there were 5,000 people, trying to get in this film because they wanted to see Emmanuel Béard in the nude. But this is not cinema, because if you want to see something, then you can just watch some X movie. Why you want to see cinema? Cinema is not for this purpose. So many people don't understand. They feel that foreign cinema has some nudity and it's good for fun, but no, cinema is pure art. And as a painter, nudity is something like.
In fact, I'm sorry to come back to that little problem that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You had at the last minute 3 films we were not shown at IFFI.
Yes,
and one of them about art. One of them, I think the title was Nude.
Yes, Nude. Marathi film. A Marathi film.
It was absolutely a magic film, but because I saw it, of course, because the model was a poor Indian lady and she wanted to make money, so for her family.
Yes.
So she had accepted to pose nude.
Yes.
And the only things you were saying is her, taking away her sari very shyly and showing her body, and he was painting. But it was pure art.
Art, yes, yes.
And unfortunately, they decided, no, it can't be shown. Well, that's sad, because art is universal.
Yes, so there are many people who think that French cinema is just about skin, but no, they don't appreciate cinema. They don't know what is cinema. So it's not that, because those who know art, those who know Balzac, because that film was based on the Balzac work. It's called The Unknown Masterpiece, Le Chef-d'œuvre Inconnu. Now, how many people would make efforts to read Balzac and try to discover the beauty of Emmanuel Béard, the acting of Michel Piccoli, the direction of Jacques Rivette? No, nobody has patience. So they just want to see the nude scenes and be happy about it.
Alors, what will be your ideas to generate more co-production between France and India? What can we do?
Yes. So first of all, as I told you that, we should create interest for each other's cinema. So once we create interest, for example, we create interest about Indian cinema in France, French cinema in India, and definitely invite the young filmmakers, young film students, critics like me, for example, people like me, people like you, who are a bridge, who are a small bridge between French culture and Indian culture. Definitely, we are a bridge, and we will spread the good word about good cinema made in France, made in India. We will connect these people from India to French people from France to India. So this way we can work on it, because I believe everybody knows about Cannes Film Festival, but Cannes is not the only festival. You have La Rochelle Festival, you have Nantes Film Festival, you have Film Festival in Amiens, you have so many film festivals in France. Same thing about India. Indian cinema is not only Bollywood. There is good cinema made in Kerala, good cinema made in West Bengal, good cinema made in Tamil Nadu.
Just where we met in Jodhpur,
Yes.
We had this wonderful festival, organized by Sumandra Arsh.
Yes.
And we discovered fantastic film.
Yes.
Like, Sharma,
Yeah.
with his fantastic music film, and Ram Mukherjee with a remake of
Rickshawala. Yes. Yeah.
Rickshawala. These films should be shown in France, and I hope they will.
Yeah, yes. So this way, by becoming bridge, because Marianne, it's wonderful thing what we both are doing, on our scale. You half of the time you are in Goa, half of the time you are in France. I'm in India. When I get an opportunity, of course, I will go to France, spread the good word. So definitely, it's through people like us that we can make our cinemas popular, Indian cinema in France and French cinema in India. And I believe we should be supported by the authorities. They should understand our contribution. That, for example, even this talk also, people should watch. Imagine if somebody is watching from the French embassy or some other official, they should understand that because of our interest, other people will also get motivated, and if they get motivated, then definitely it's like a chain reaction. Good things will happen, but we have to make a start somewhere. That we should get support by the authorities, because we are doing good things.
Let's pray that.
Yes. Ok. So, génial. Marianne, tu as posé toutes les questions. Ok, donc Marianne, je voudrais bien te demander, alors la session c'est formidable, moi j'ai aimé, et derrière ça, en fait tu es devant ce tableau, et l'internet marche bien, donc c'est génial. Donc, donc je t'explique un peu comment je vais faire demain. Donc tout d'abord, je vais parler 5 ou 10 minutes sur le cinéma français. Après, après une introduction du cinéma français, je vais parler de toi, qui est Marianne Bourgo. Donc, je vais parler un peu 5 minutes au maximum. Donc, 15 minutes.
Oui.
Oui, 15 minutes pour te présenter, pour présenter un peu le cinéma français. Et ensuite, tu me poses. Donc, moi, j'ai une question pour toi. Alors, on fait comme, par exemple, moi, je te pose toutes les questions et après, tu me poses, ou bien je te pose une question, tu me poses une question. Et après, je te pose encore une question, tu me poses une question. Comment tu veux qu'on fasse?
Tu sais, je crois que la meilleure chose, c'est d'être sincère sur le moment.
Ok.
Donc, les questions vont peut-être se mélanger, mais ça dépend des réponses.
Ok.
Donc, ça, c'est à toi de voir. C'est toi qui mènes la session.
Okay.
Et moi, I will try to follow. The only thing, as I told you at the beginning, I was not happy. It's because you were not looking at me, you were going away and all that. So I need, otherwise I lose confidence. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
If you're on stage, and if you feel the audience is not watching you, you lose your confidence. So I have to be with you, only with you. And if it's just you and me, and if we are sincere, so the good thing about, you know, our love for the cinema is going to come out. But we have just to be, you know, at the end it was going very smoothly, and it was good because suddenly, you know, we're jumping from one idea to another.
Okay.
Bon, at the beginning, I didn't answer about, you know, the story of the cinema, of Méliès, of Pathé, and all that I will do tomorrow. But because I was tense, we have just to be, voilà. Hein?
Oui, bien sûr. No. Yeah, I can understand because
you are wonderful. It's more for me.
Merci Maria. Non, mais excuse-moi pour ce petit dérangement parce que tu sais, il y avait ce problème de chaleur et tout ça. Donc, mais aujourd'hui, c'est juste une, what you call trial. So,
yes.
c'est juste un essai.
Répétition.
Oui. Donc, c'est un essai. Donc, demain, il n'y aura pas de problème parce que moi, je vais me mettre sous le ventilateur. Donc, il y aura...
Oui.
OK, pas de problème. Et aussi...
Il fait quelle température, là, chez toi?
Je crois que ça fait quelque chose comme 39 ou 38.
Waouh! Ici, il fait 15.
OK, donc tu as
C'est le premier jour où on a du soleil.
OK, tu as du beau temps, donc c'est bien. OK.
Oui, non, mais on a eu un temps affreux, c'est abominable.
OK. Marianne, one more thing I want to tell you is that tomorrow, so I will ask questions, you will ask questions, and then there will be questions from the audience also. Les spectateurs vont nous poser des questions. So maybe they can ask you some question, they can ask me also.
Oui.
So we'll have to answer them. But we don't know what they're going to ask.
Sure.
Okay. So suppose they ask you something, and if you are getting stuck, si tu as des problèmes, I will try to help you. And
sure.
If they ask me something about French cinema about which maybe I don't know, or you know, I am giving less information, then you please help me. So we will,
yeah.
So we'll work on that way. Okay, and that's it. And soyons optimistes. Tout se passera bien. And thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Et une fois de plus, j'admire ta connaissance du cinéma français. C'est formidable.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Mais alors, tu sais, je n'ai pas dit un mot de tout ce que j'ai fait.
Oui, bien sûr, tu peux le dire maintenant.
Non. Mais j'avais fait plein de notes. Regarde, tout ce que j'ai écrit.
Ah, ok.
Oh là.
Mais au moins, c'est bien. C'est grâce à moi que tu as fait un peu le devoir sur le cinéma français.
J'ai révisé des choses extraordinaires.
OK. Marianne, il y a une petite question que je voudrais bien te poser.
Oui.
OK. Il me semble que, est-ce que tu as déjà parlé de cet entretien? Est-ce que tu as communiqué à tes amis que tu vas participer?
Non, pas encore.
OK, donc tu vas faire ça demain pour que tes amis peuvent profiter de ta présence.
Alors, je fais comment pour ça?
En fait, par exemple, tu es sur WhatsApp, donc tu envoies le lien à tous les amis et ils vont regarder comme ça.
Mais quel est le lien? Tu me l'enverras demain ou
Oui. Demain, c'est Ankit qui va partager le lien à moi. Et une fois que je reçois, je vais t'envoyer et tu peux...
D'accord.
OK.
OK. D'accord.
Mais par exemple, mais déjà, déjà, l'annonce de notre entretien, c'est suffisant. Donc, tu peux mettre ça sur WhatsApp et tu peux envoyer, par exemple, tu comprends?
OK.
Je vais te montrer, par exemple, écoute, par exemple, j'ai déjà, comment dire, je vais te montrer.
Tu n'as qu'à m'envoyer un petit WhatsApp avec.
Regarde, tu regardes ça?
Oui.
Donc, tu peux mettre ça sur le statut. Tu sais comment mettre sur le statut? Par exemple, mon statut, et tu mets ça.
Non, je vais demander, je ne sais pas faire ça.
Ok, ok, c'est pas grave. Donc, mais tu sais comment, par exemple, envoyer des messages. Donc, je vais t'envoyer le lien et tu partages le lien
Voilà.
avec tes amis.
Voilà, super.
Oui, et puis, par exemple, tu parlais de Juliette, Juliette Grand, de l'ambassade. Oui, Grandmont.
Ouais.
Donc, des gens, des personnages importants, des personnages clés qui prennent des décisions. Si ces
Voilà.
gens réussissent à voir notre entretien, peut-être ça va nous aider, non? Qu'est-ce que tu en penses? Donc,
Bon.
oui,
Oui, oui.
des gens comme ça. Parce que moi, j'avais contacté des gens qui font partie de mon lien Facebook. Mais
Oui.
bien sûr, donc je vais voir s'il y a un grand public ou non. Parce que, par exemple, il y a 4000 personnes dans mon réseau. Et s'il y a au moins 10% des gens.
15 000.
Oui, 4000.
Non.
Non, non, c'est vrai. Il y a 4000 personnes dans mon réseau. Mais s'il y a uniquement 10 000, excuse-moi, 10%, pas 10 000, 10% qui participent. Donc, c'est génial. 400 personnes, c'est bien.
C'est formidable. Très
Oui,
bien.
oui,
Hein?
oui. Et tu vas aller à Cannes cette année, non?
Oui, normalement, mais je vais avoir un problème parce que je ne vais pas pouvoir aller au cinéma parce que
Ok.
je ne me suis pas fait,
Mhm.
que je me suis pas fait vacciner.
Non, mais peut-être dans un mois ou deux, tu vas te faire vacciner, non? Non?
Non, je peux pas. Je veux pas
Pourquoi?
parce que je suis anti-vaccin.
Ah, tu étais anti-vaccin. Ok.
Oui.
Donc, cette année-ci, pas de festival de Cannes pour toi.
Ben, je serai là-bas,
Ok.
mais ils sont en train d'installer un pass sanitaire.
Ok.
Et donc, si sur ton téléphone, tu n'as pas le pass sanitaire, tu ne peux pas entrer au festival.
Ah, ok, donc est-ce que c'est difficile? Donc, ok.
Ouais, ouais. Tu ne pourras plus aller dans les magasins, tu ne pourras plus prendre un métro, tu ne pourras plus prendre un bus, tu ne pourras plus rien faire sans le pass sanitaire.
Donc, tu dois rester comme une casanière, donc.
Oui,
Mais-
j'attends, voilà. Peut-être que je me ferai vacciner à un moment, mais pour l'instant, je n'ai pas confiance. Donc, je préfère conserver ma santé plutôt que la livrer
Ok, ok,
à des médecins qui ne savent pas ce qu'ils font.
ok,
Voilà.
ok. Ok,
C'est
donc,
un autre dialogue.
merci,
Hein.
merci, Marianne.
Et dis-moi, comment ça va chez toi avec le Covid? Ça va?
Super, pas de problème. Moi, je me suis fait vacciner le mois dernier, 15 avril. Ok, la première dose. Et le mois prochain, je vais aller pour la deuxième dose. Et ça va, c'est
Ouais.
comme ça. Et puis, toutes les fois qu'on sort, par exemple, les enfants ne sortent pas parce qu'elles n'ont pas d'école, elles ont leurs vacances scolaires, les vacances d'été. Mais au cas où ma femme et moi, nous sortions, par exemple, pour faire des achats, des légumes ou des légumes, des fruits, du lait ou quelque chose comme ça, on est double masqué, on met double masque. Donc, c'est comme ça. On est,
Et les enfants sont toujours à la maison?
Oui, les enfants restent à la maison.
Oh,
Mais non, mais les filles, elles jouent à la maison. Elles jouent aux échecs. Elles jouent, en fait, elles regardent quelque chose sur Internet et tout ça. Donc, elles jouent au badminton à la terrasse parce que nous pouvons aller à la terrasse. Donc,
ok.
nous avons une grande maison. Donc, c'est bien, c'est l'avantage. Mais pour des enfants, c'est un peu difficile parce que toutes
Ah,
les fois, rester enfermé chez soi, c'est pas une bonne idée.
bah, écoute, tu es formidable et tu
Merci.
remercies ta femme. Alors moi, je suis de plus en plus vieille. Je ne sais pas si je vais me coiffer avec les cheveux longs ou si je me fais un chignon.
OK.
Ah, je ne me supporte plus. C'est dur de vieillir. Non, peut-être je vais avoir les cheveux longs, hein, c'est mieux.
OK.
Ouais.
Le, le choix est à toi. Le choix
Hein?
est entièrement à toi. Donc, Marianne, demain, c'est 13h30, figure-toi. OK?
Oui, 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 oui.
Oui. Donc, peut-être le matin, Ankit, il va m'envoyer le lien et dès que j'ai le lien, je vais t'envoyer, te faire suivre le lien et je vais te communiquer par WhatsApp. Donc, nous serions en contact.
Et je sors pas demain matin, je reste à la maison, donc tu peux me contacter quand tu veux. OK?
Merci beaucoup. Merci, merci.
Et je me demande,
Mais une
oui,
question. Tu dis que grâce à ton téléphone portable, par exemple, avec le téléphone portable, on peut savoir si la personne est vaccinée ou non. Donc, comment tu réussis à sortir de ta maison, par exemple, parce que tu as dit que...
ah mais non, parce que pour l'instant, ce n'est pas encore officiel.
OK, c'est pas officiel.
Pour l'instant, ils ne demandent pas encore le pass.
OK,
Mais ils sont en train de débattre ça pour que ça passe en tant que loi.
OK.
Voilà.
Ah, OK.
Donc, ils sont en train d'installer le pass sanitaire.
OK.
C'est
OK.
pas drôle, c'est pas tout ça, pas drôle du tout.
OK. OK. OK.
Et est-ce que tu crois qu'à un moment, j'aimerais un jour te le présenter, ça n'a rien à voir avec ça. Il s'appelle Patrick Georges.
OK.
Et Patrick Georges, il a plusieurs festivals de cinéma. Il a
Mhm.
été le premier à faire des festivals de courts-métrages.
OK.
Et il avait une dizaine de festivals. Maintenant, il n'en a plus que 4 parce que, bon, entre le Covid, tout ça, etc. Donc, on va en avoir un à Agde, au festival d'Agde, un autre à Monte-Carlo, et puis l'autre à, oh, j'ai oublié. Mais dans ces festivals, il a créé une plateforme qui s'appelle les cours d'école.
OK.
Donc, pendant ces festivals, il va tourner plusieurs petits courts-métrages et il va demander la participation gratuite de certains des invités. Bon, il y a toujours des comédiens très connus, donc on leur a donné avant un petit texte et surtout on est allé dans les écoles, peut-être 6 mois auparavant ou 1 an auparavant, et on a dit aux enfants, voilà, on va faire des petits films cette année, mettons sur la pollution. Donc, ce sont des films de 5 minutes. Je vais t'envoyer des choses. Ce sont des petits films de 5 minutes. Et vous, les enfants, vous allez entre vous écrire l'histoire, la réaliser et la jouer.
OK.
Et dans l'histoire, il faut qu'il y ait 1 ou 2 adultes. D'après leur histoire, bon, mettons, il y a une maîtresse d'école, un jardinier, n'importe quoi, on va leur fournir des comédiens.
Oui.
Et pendant le festival, ou le matin ou l'après-midi, tu vois, on va aller tourner dans l'école ce petit film. Ce sont des films de 5 minutes, des petites vignettes, mais qui sont extraordinaires. Et ça fait longtemps que je voudrais faire la même chose en Inde. Reprendre les mêmes petites histoires, mais les tourner en Inde avec des Indiens.
C'est possible.
Donc,
oui.
donc je t'enverrai ça. Bon, ça n'a rien à voir avec notre histoire aujourd'hui, mais je t'enverrai ça par la suite. Et tu vois, c'est une façon de créer des liens. Et je crois que on leur montrera les petits films des Français et puis à côté, les petits films des Indiens sur la même histoire.
Okay.
Et ça peut faire un très joli moment dans chaque festival.
Absolument, c'est faisable, c'est tout à fait faisable. Parce que tu sais, dans le passé, j'ai animé un ciné-club dans une des écoles internationales où j'ai travaillé. Donc, les jeunes apprenants, ils sont passionnés pour le cinéma, donc ils souhaitent vraiment participer à une activité comme ça. Pourquoi pas? Donc, c'est faisable.
Ça coûte rien à réaliser.
Non, ça coûte rien, non, ça coûte rien.
Voilà, et ça peut ouvrir énormément de portes pour tout le monde.
Oui, oui, hein? Bien sûr. Mais une fois que la situation devient normale, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, évidemment.
Oui, oui. Mais pas pendant ces temps difficiles.
Non,
donc,
non.
Oui.
Mais il faut avoir des projets.
Absolument, oui, 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 c'est faisable et je serais ravi de collaborer avec toi pour ce projet.
Bon. Et sinon, tu as toujours envie de partir pour Singapour ou qu'est-ce que tu as envie de faire?
C'est une excellente question, Marianne. Tu sais, moi, franchement, je n'arrive pas à trouver un bon emploi en Inde tu sais, parce que moi, j'ai besoin de stabilité dans ma carrière aussi. Tu sais, moi, je ne vais pas travailler un an et après, moi, je suis viré. Ensuite, attendre 6 mois pour trouver un nouvel emploi et encore, tu sais, je voudrais bien, comment dire, mettre la fin à cette histoire, cette triste histoire de ne pas avoir la stabilité. Donc, moi, j'ai pensé à Singapour, mais le problème avec le Singapour, c'est que on préfère les Australiens ou je ne sais pas, les Américains, les Australiens, les Européens. Parce que il me semble que les gens de Singapour n'ont pas confiance dans les Indiens. Tu sais, ils pensent que les Indiens ne sont pas capables. Les Indiens, tu comprends, certains préjugés contre les Indiens. Donc, mais je ne sais pas comment résoudre ce problème. Donc, soit c'est Singapour, sinon, par exemple, moi, j'ai fait des recherches et il me semble qu'aux États-Unis, on a vraiment une pénurie de professeurs parce que les Américains, surtout la nouvelle génération, ne veulent pas aller dans l'enseignement. Franchement, par exemple, l'enseignement, ce n'est pas un métier qui passionne les Américains. La médecine aussi, par exemple, parce que beaucoup de jeunes Américains ne souhaitent pas travailler comme infirmière ni comme professeur, tu comprends? Donc, je ne sais pas si j'arrive à décrocher un boulot comme ça serait bien parce que le salaire est bon. On paye au moins 50 000 $ par an. C'est un salaire vachement bon, quoi. Oui, 50 000 $, c'est bien. Et puis, le fait que je serai aux États-Unis, et puis, tu sais, même pour le cinéma, l'Amérique, c'est bien, parce que, tu sais, il y a des festivals. Je ne dirais pas vraiment...
Par rapport à tes passions et tout, les États-Unis, c'est peut-être mieux pour toi.
Oui, oui. Parce que l'Inde, tu sais, l'Inde, tout est bien. En fait, la vie n'est pas tellement chère, mais côté travail, côté carrière, c'est pas bien parce que tu sais, de toute façon, on ne paye pas bien tout d'abord les professeurs de l'école. Et puis, deuxième chose, il n'y a pas de stabilité. Donc, moi, je voudrais bien aller à l'étranger pour travailler. Pour cette raison, j'étais au Qatar pour 15 mois, mais là, c'était une école indienne. Donc, tu sais, les écoles indiennes ne sont pas professionnelles. par exemple, si tu gagnes $4 000 et si l'école trouve quelqu'un qui peut travailler pour 3 000, ils vont dire, oh, OK, on va te virer. On a déjà trouvé quelqu'un pour 3 000 et l'année prochaine, si l'école réussit à trouver quelqu'un pour 2 000, ils vont dire au deuxième professeur, on n'a pas besoin de vos services parce qu'on a déjà trouvé un nouveau pour 2 000. C'est comme ça, tu comprends? Donc, les écoles indiennes fonctionnent comme ça, partout dans l'Inde. Donc, et puis moi, à part l'enseignement, je ne sais pas beaucoup de choses parce que la critique, par exemple, le travail d'écrire des articles ne me rapporte pas de sous, tu sais.
Ah non,
tu sais?
Je sais.
Oui.
C'est ta passion, c'est tout.
Oui, c'est ma passion parce que tu sais, il y a des imbéciles qui travaillent pour les journaux, mais ils ne savent pas beaucoup de choses, tu sais, sur le cinéma. Et moi, comment dire, je ne peux pas tirer des ficelles pour trouver un emploi dans un journal ou tout ça. Donc, tu sais, c'est un peu difficile, mais c'est la vie.
Ouais. En fait, tu es formidable et encore bravo pour ta passion. Et puis voilà, ta connaissance du cinéma français, c'est éblouissant. Hein?
Merci, Marianne.
Et pour conclure notre histoire, je suis comme toi, on pourra peut-être en parler, parce que c'est un résumé justement de la censure. C'est Cinéma Paradiso. Tu as vu l'autre jour. Parce que la fin du film, je m'en souviendrai toute ma vie, de tous les petits bouts, des morceaux coupés, des baisers interdits, de toute l'histoire du cinéma. Et qu'il, à la fin, oh là là, c'est extraordinaire, c'est extraordinaire.
T'as raison, oui.
Bon, ben, je t'embrasse fort.
Merci, Marianne. Merci.
Et puis heureusement qu'on a le cinéma. Hein?
Oui, bien sûr. Non, mais c'est le cinéma qui nous réunit, tu sais. C'est le cinéma qui est le lien comment dire, inlassable entre les peuples. Donc, c'est génial.
J'ai pas encore eu le courage d'y aller parce que, à cause du Covid, tu vois, bon, voilà. Donc, j'attends Cannes, j'espère.
OK.
Gros.
Allez.
Donc, à demain.
Ou peut-être tu vas changer ta décision. Peut-être tu serais prête à te faire vacciner. On ne sait pas, on ne sait jamais.
On ne sait pas.
On ne sait pas. OK. Merci, Marianne.
Bisous.
Bisous et oui, je te souhaite excellente soirée et à demain.
Et mes amitiés à ta femme.
Bien sûr, je vais lui parler. OK, ciao. À demain.
Ciao. Au revoir.
Au revoir.